you doing, everybody? We are Any Way You Slice It. Name change. But you know what didn't change? This is still Peter Tieshin. I'm still Jason Flom. And
JF.
Yeah. If I comment back to you, JF.
JF, Diddy JF.
Okay, so we have an announcement, and I'll let you take the floor here.
About the name change?
Yeah.
So we wanted to change the name because Music of Kiss, although I was really adamant about it being the Music of Kiss to start with. And we always say we can change it if we want later.
I even said, really, Peter? In 2 years, you're going to want to change. Guess who was right.
And it's not that we ran out of Kiss albums, it's just that we just don't like Kiss anymore. I'm joking. There's always stuff to talk about. Look at all the things Gene and Ace say about each other lately.
Exactly.
There's always stuff to talk about if we wanted to go drama. But we can talk about different angles and eras and costumes, which actually we're going to mention some costume stuff today. But
yeah, we're still going to geek out on Kiss.
We
have
just
our
music
16 magazines.
Yeah, we're just music freaks in general, so
yeah.
We want to broaden it. But anybody who knows Kiss well knows that Any Way You Slice It is a Kiss song from the 80s on Asylum. And we thought that had kind of a cool connotation.
And it's a Gene song, and
if he likes something, what?
We love 80s Gene songs. We stick up for 80s Gene songs.
And if he loves it, if I love it, we hate it, I hate it, he hates it, it's just any way you slice it. Does that make sense somehow?
I think it does.
It means something. Come on, whatever.
Yeah.
You can't deny it. Any way you slice
there you
it.
go. That's our tagline.
Yeah, you can't. Any way you slice it, no, you can't deny it.
Yeah, you know you can't deny it.
Why didn't we put that on the...
Maybe we will.
Maybe we will.
Yeah. See, we're being creative as we speak. Coming up with this.
So our first episode, we chose...
First episode of Any Way You Slice It. Yeah, like he said, we're still Kiss geeks at heart. You're still going to get some Kiss content. There's going to be Kiss content here. But we are branching out. You know, we don't want to be limited to just Kiss. We always got excited when we got to like sidebar off of the Kiss subject onto another band. Now we don't have any restrictions. We're free to do that.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just no restrictions.
Yeah. So, Kiss costumes. Favorite Kiss costumes. This is for Dean, who donated to us. He chose this topic. And thank you, Dean. Dean is from Long Island. He grew up in the same neck of the woods as Blue Oyster Cult.
Wow.
Speaking of great American rock bands. Yeah. So, Dean, this is for you, man. You're awesome.
That's cool.
He's a cool guy. Great musician,
The
too.
Long Island Sounds.
He's a great musician, Dean is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
God, I thought he was West Coast.
No, he's a New Yorker. Well,
Dean
Long
plays
Island.
Chapman stick. He plays a few things. He plays guitar, but he's...
Yeah.
We should put some links to it. He does Kiss songs, too.
Yeah.
Like solo.
Dean, send us any... Well, I'll talk to you privately. We'll get some links up, whatever you want. So, yeah, we're going to talk about our favorite Kiss costumes throughout the years. And I guess we'll start from the beginning, won't we? You know, we'll just go through each costume, tell you what we think.
Yeah, talk about it a little bit.
I definitely have a favorite, which I'll mention.
Mm-hmm. So for this week, I pull out a pile of magazines because really I just love going through magazines. Super fun. This one here had kind of a cool picture of what they were wearing on the first tour.
A lot of leather.
You see Peter there.
Dog collars, studs.
Stuff they put together themselves.
Homemade stuff.
Still really cool though.
Ace was utilizing the lightning bolts right away on his boots.
Right away.
And his shirt, really.
And Gene had some kind of shaggy stuff on his arms.
Kind of bat-like, you know, kind of hung down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of leather. Stinky leather, from what I understand.
yeah. So the makeup didn't stay on very well at first, and the leather got stinky. So what else do we got here? We got this. It's not necessarily totally in order, but what is it? Late 75, early 75, early 76, or through 76. You got the Destroyer / Rock and Roll Over outfits. This is a cool calendar that I got from a Grooves issue, but this shows their costumes pretty well, you know. I just think it's so cool. Of course, we know what this footage is from up here, this screenshot up here.
Yeah, so obviously with Destroyer, that's when they finally came out as superheroes, and What did you think of the Destroyer outfits compared to say Love Gun?
The thing about Love Gun, I think Love Gun is kind of unanimously everybody's favorite. Not just because it was the height of everything, but also because there's a sleekness to it. It just all around Jean's boots. I mean, Aces.
Yeah.
I mean, it just looked so well together, and
Mhm.
it fit the stage so well. This is Jean a little bit before that. This is Alive era. I mean, really, that's probably my favorite Jean look for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
That is badass. I mean, that ain't my favorite Jean look. Although, hey, it's pretty fun. The capes were fun, actually.
Yeah.
They were ridiculous, but they're fun, you know.
Yeah.
Dynasty had the capes, and this just looked like tinfoil.
It
just
did.
looked like
I
straight
always
up
thought that.
tinfoil to you,
Aluminum
too?
foil right there.
Yeah, straight up tinfoil. But the Love Gun in their prime. Here's a large sticker I have from back then.
Yeah, that okay. I'm saying it right now. That's my favorite.
That's your. I knew it was your
Yeah,
favorite.
without a
Most
doubt.
people's favorite.
Hmm.
It is really cool the way Jean's chains fit perfect through the contours of his chest there, and everything's just worked out so good at this point. You know, they had just perfected their thing. I really like the Dress to Kill and Alive costumes for Jean and Ace. You know.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. Paul, his costume, he moved around a lot on stage. He had to
Yeah.
have something, you know.
Here we
to
go.
jump up. Yeah, there it is. Paul always wore some kind of basically
Here's some Alive era stuff.
jumpsuit. Yeah.
Paul's always got his chest open. He's got this feathery.
Well, he's got to let the chest
He's
wig
got
show.
the feathery band on his arm here, so that means this is, Dress to Kill and Alive. So this is an interesting one we have here that you don't see all the time.
Yeah. Obviously, just for a photo shoot.
Probably just like what, not very many photo shoots with this.
I always like the photos too, where
Sleek outfit.
he's out promoting a solo album and he just has like a leather jacket on.
Yeah, totally.
I always thought that looked cool.
I like that with Creatures of the Night when everyone's in their outfits and Paul just has a kisser on.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that was cool, and it was also Paul desperately wanting to make a change. I think saying, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna wear a kiss shirt." But I
Wasn't
think
it like
this is a way cool
almost
look,
like a
though.
bra kiss shirt? It came up to like right here.
Yeah, it's a half shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He could get away with it. I couldn't.
Paul could. Come on, we could do that now.
Next episode, we're wearing bra kiss shirts.
This is a really good picture of the Killers, which is the elder outfits. And Jean's hair looks weird, but other than Jean's hair looking a little weird, Paul's purple headband, I don't mind the purple headband, but Jean's things and those beads he has on his hair hanging there. I mean, Jean looks a little. I don't know what Jean looks. He just doesn't look like Jean. You gotta have the ponytail up there and stuff.
What about like
you know?
Eric's like leather sweatsuit he wore?
Yeah. I mean, I like the look though. I gotta say,
Ace's onesie.
I really like that Ace outfit. That was kind of
It
cool
is
when
cool.
Tommy brought that back on the 2000. What tour was that when he brought that? I thought that was a pretty cool homage
Monster
to
Tour,
that.
Maybe? I don't know.
So here's some Love Gun. Jean just had a really cool outfit too.
I believe that was from the Kiss Meets the Phantom photo session. Chamber of Thrills.
Here again we have the that pink, and we got this design, these lines back here that you kind of see on.
You know what's funny is that's a
Killers.
reversed picture, but it doesn't look reversed
Yeah.
there. So, well,
You see an Eric's leather he's got going on there. Yeah. I mean, overall, I really like it. I think it looked pretty cool. I think Gene just should have had his hair out. He had those silver pants that were mesh or whatever. They were kind of showing that his legs weren't quite that thin anymore. He had plumped up a little bit, maybe, you know?
Yeah, I always like the older outfits.
Yeah, totally.
There's a cape.
Yeah,
Cape pre-Dynasty.
Yeah, red cape.
Pre-Dynasty cape.
Love Gun era. Is that solo album?
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Creatures.
there they are.
I mean,
So Ace just decided to keep the same. He probably knew he wasn't going to be around much longer, so it didn't matter. But
yeah, they probably weren't even putting money into his outfit, or he didn't care to talk about it. But to me, the Creatures look is badass.
the Creatures look
It's
like
really
matches the music and their
It's so
attitude
good.
they had then. You know.
So for me, Dress to Kill that goes into Alive, those costumes, something about those costumes and just seeing those flashes in the stage and that whole like the flat stage when the drum riser's down and he's only this far off the stage. I love that look.
Yeah, I mean the costumes always fit the show and mood. Picture Dynasty costumes on the Alive tour. Wouldn't have worked. Would have been silly.
Yeah, and then Love Gun. Like I said, I like that flat stage with the flash pots and all that. I love that.
Mhm.
So dark and kind of scary. You know, the first time I actually saw Kiss, I was like everybody. I was really surprised that it feels like when that fire goes up, it feels like it melts your face
Oh
off.
yeah.
And it's like,
Oh
whoa.
yeah.
It's fun. That is
Even
really
from the
fun.
back row. Like,
But then, you know, everyone's favorite, the Love Gun costumes. I mean, those costumes really fit that stage. It's a bigger stage. It goes higher. So there's lots of silver and there's lots of visibility happening. It's different,
absolutely.
you know. So, but Love Gun, Alive, Creatures, those are probably my faves.
Yeah. So really quick, we didn't talk too much about the Destroyer outfits. What'd you think of Gene's armor and all that?
Yeah, it was a little bit it covered his chest,
Yeah.
and it just wasn't as sleek.
I felt like when they brought it on for the farewell tour, I believe. No, Cycle Circus tour. I felt like it was more just to cover up the girth
Yeah.
that was, you know.
I like it
created.
better than the tree trunk unmasked era, like those legs and stuff where it's just
Oh yeah,
"Oh,
tree
I'm
trunk.
you know
Yeah.
like But the Destroyer costumes, they don't seem as sleek, but it's really only Gene, you know.
Yeah.
But I guess there's a reason why I didn't say him, and I think that's probably why.
Again, I wasn't a fan of Paul's base onesies showing his chest off, but he
Oh,
moves
yes,
around.
you were.
Fine, it was. He moves around a lot on stage, so I get that. He can get away with that, you know.
And Gene's armor, that's badass.
And let's
It's
talk.
just not quite my
Yeah,
favorite.
and let's talk about Ace for a second. He's always looked the best. Come on. Well,
You know-
besides Love Gun, I think Gene nailed it.
Look up that Blackie Lawless interview where he talks about working at a poster printing place.
Oh, and Ace has sold the most.
And you know, Ace always had twice as much stuff printed, and the other guy, they kept that kind of secret from the other guys in Kiss, I guess, or from Gene anyway.
I think the theory about that was, well, obviously Ace is badass and all that.
His
but
space, it just looked
space
cool.
and Star Wars was huge at the time.
Yep.
So people,
That's
you
true.
know, the connection.
Ace had a little help from the scene of the days. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see what's wrong with Gene here. He just kind of has an average haircut. it's just kind of average.
He had a
It
day
just-
job at the time.
Yeah. It just,
He was working at Racks.
yeah, he's working at Racks. Now, we never said we're going to talk about the non-makeup years, but the first couple of years there was pretty heavy costumage going on.
Very.
Although there's not full makeup, but Paul and Gene, they had their look down. I'm sure they were still working with a designer. It was
Oh,
probably
no, they were.
somebody who worked with Van Halen or somebody or whoever, right?
Actually, she did Motley Crue, Shout the Devil.
Analyze was a good look. Look It Up wasn't bad either. Here's the armor, and with the high boots, and you can see how it's kind of, he just looks kind of thick all over. Although it's amazing. I can't say why it's not my
No, it's
favorite.
weird that he looks thick because he was really thin then.
Yeah, he was
So-
still. Yeah, he was.
But
still.
you know, it bulked him up. He was more like a monster.
Yeah. Kind of a close up of Peter's Destroyer.
I do
costume.
like that. I think
It's
very
great,
cool.
actually, and there's really nothing wrong with any of the Destroyer costumes.
No,
it's just,
I just
no.
think Love Gun, they improved on it.
Yeah, Love Gun are just. It's not just that the Love Guns are so good, but they're so good for so many people. You know what I mean? They're just so. Those costumes are so congenial. You know, they really are.
Absolutely.
Here's another Creatures. Looks like it's an outtake from that Creatures poster.
Yep, yep.
So I think that's such a really cool look. And you're right, Ace has a leftover costume with the silver looking. They look like sparkly Converse. You know,
Oh yeah, they
they were
truly
kind
do.
of in this era. You know, see,
Yeah.
Paul's got a half shirt on. It's not a Kiss shirt, but it's a half shirt with the.
Mhm.
You know, they were flirting around with not wearing huge costumes. So what do you say? And here's a little bit of the animalized look for Gene.
And the wig band.
Wig.
Wig band.
Yeah. So no black and white makeup anyway, but a lot of costumage still happening. So
Oh, yeah.
kind of worth mentioning. I like it. I think it looked great. You know.
Some people would even say that they still wore a hell of a lot of makeup on the Lick It Up tour.
It's
Man,
different.
look at those early photos from the Lick It Up tour.
Yeah, different
wow.
colors.
A lot of rouge.
But then here's
And
Gene.
Desmond Child.
Here's Gene for the Creatures. Killer. He had the killer bass to go with it at this point. He had his hair longer again.
Mm-hmm.
And he had this different armor, but on top of his arm, so it wasn't covering his chest as much.
That is badass.
Yeah. The top of the boots are from Love Gun, right? I guess the boots in general are, yeah.
That is badass.
Yeah. So, some cool stuff. If you guys haven't seen that Gibson video that came out where Paul showed all his guitars,
I haven't seen that yet.
he shows the prototype for this, and he shows the original one that he used, you know.
I have to watch that.
All cracked up with a bit of blood on it and stuff like that. Yeah, you got to watch it. He's really heavy on Gibsons for the first 45 minutes or whatever because it's a Gibson thing, but then he lets loose with, you know, Iceman guitars and stuff towards the end. He talks about that stuff, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This
like,
is
like we were just showing the cracked Iceman, fractured mirror kind of Iceman. That fit the Dynasty tour. Again,
yeah, totally.
Their guitars fit the tour, their costumes fit the tour, music, everything. Kiss was a good package.
The costumes were always really cool right from the start. It always fit. Yeah, you're right. It always fit.
Yeah.
This is a little. What's that?
And the guitars. I mean, just everything. The whole package.
Yep. This is a little look at Hotter Than Hell era here. It's just straight up black leather. You know, it's killer.
Absolutely.
Ace's costume evolves from the first tour, though, for sure.
So if you can see, Peter has some of his legs showing there, the hole in the pants. Gene did that later on.
Yeah.
So Peter was the original.
Peter did it.
Absolutely.
Now the killer creatures look here. They looked really cool in this era here. I love it.
And there's a shot of Vinny, of course.
I always think of it like this is number 2 era. You know, the costumes. These are number 2 costumes for me. This era.
Okay, the creatures.
But I mean, really, that means I'm putting this beyond, underneath Destroyer, underneath Love Gun. I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to.
You know, the cool thing about when Paul wore the Kiss shirt on stage, the half Kiss shirt, you could go to the merch line and get your own.
Oh,
so you could go home in the same shirt.
That blue shirt. And
Yeah.
then cut it off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Take home what Paul wore.
And then, as you can see, Gene looks like a football player. A lot of costumage going on in that Animalized tour. So. And I guess we can wrap it up with this, because this goes all the way
Before
back.
the costumes.
Is this the first or one of the first pictures?
Oh yeah, easily.
Hey, let's take this first really important picture. All right, Ace, light up. Let's like, it's like what?
I think that was right outside the loft in that stairwell.
It's funny.
Yeah, people go there. Yeah.
So,
Oh, this is cool.
One more.
This caught my eye when I walked in here today.
Love Gun costumes
Very cool.
in their full glory.
Cool poster.
Yeah.
Right on.
So there's some talk about the costumes. You know, I could talk about them forever.
Yeah. So Dean, again, thanks. We enjoyed looking through those photos and sharing them with you all.
And we got to put up a link to it. What did he do? Black Diamond?
Yeah.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
does great stuff.
Yeah, really does. We'll put up a link. It'll be in the comments.
Yeah.
So now, to celebrate our new name change and our freedom to talk about other bands, what topic did we come up with, Peter?
Favorite American rock records from the 70s.
Yeah, we came up with this topic. Actually, he did. It was right around 4th of July, so we were very, very patriotic.
We were so patriotic that day.
I was like, yeah, American bands, let's do it. From the 70s, because best decade ever for music.
And it seems extremely specific, American bands, American rock bands from the 70s, but really, it's hard to even narrow that down. 70s were, even from just America, 70s were going on. I mean,
yeah. What he's saying is, if we were just like, oh, best 70s albums, period, we'd be here for 5 hours talking about, I mean, come on. We'll do a show about English bands, right?
we get to do shows about everything now.
Yeah,
But
that's it. That's the freedom.
We get to sneak Kiss in there, though.
Yeah,
Oh,
Kiss will be in there. We'll be talking about Kiss during this show.
Top 10 Hawaiian bands of all time. Kiss will work its way in there
Yeah,
somehow.
somehow.
You know.
So I'll let you get it started.
Um,
So what's the format is, we're going to talk about our favorites. And we have about, say, 10 each. We roughly came up with a list. But we're going to branch off and talk about, like, because you can't talk about this band's best album
Yeah.
without talking about other good albums.
I mean, if I was really gonna talk about my 10 favorites, it'd be like 5 Kiss albums, 5 Steely Dan. It really, that's how it'd be for me. So that's kind of silly though.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, we're not doing that.
I'm glad this is albums and not songs though, because I'm a soft rocker. I'm a crazy soft rocker. I got like 13 volumes of my favorite soft rock that I like remaster and like, you know, change the order all the time. I've been perfecting these CDs for years.
He is a soft rocker.
Soft rock, yeah, soft rock lover.
I'll walk in the club that he does the sound at, and I'll be like,
Sundown.
Is that James Taylor?
Thicker.
yeah. Oh, love that song,
Yeah.
Gordon Lightfoot.
So if I'm
Love
going to
it.
start it though, I'm going to start it with this.
You know, if I could read
because-
your mind, I knew you were going to pick that.
Who knew? So anyway, on this brand new, you know, widened topic that we have here, let's talk about Kiss. To me, it's just one of the most important albums for hard rock, heavy metal in the 70s. I mean,
Yeah, so let's get something straight right now. This is both of our number one. Right
let's
here.
get this straight.
Yeah, this is it. This is why we, especially him, became a musician. This is everything right here.
Yeah, first album I ever drummed
This
to.
right here.
100,000 years.
You know, look at, come on, Kiss Alive.
Come on.
You know, if
Motherfuckers.
yeah, if you've ever watched us before, you would probably know we worship this album.
It's closest to my heart. My friend gave me
Me as
a.
well.
I gave him a blank tape, and he gave me this on one side and this on the other side. I think it was a 90 or 100 minuter, and he fit them both on there. And so for this is number 2. Really, I would like to just mention one album per band, but can you really do that? With some of these bands, I can't. Steely Dan, I can't. You know, so I'm at least going to mention my second favorite album. This would be my second favorite from the 70s, if I'm really honest about it. I got this on the same day as that one. And killer.
Wow,
Yeah.
hearing those both for the first time on the same day.
So Kiss. Are you going to mention Kiss first also?
Well, I kind of just did with it
You
live
kinda have to.
because you know that's
What
my
would be your
favorite.
second favorite from the 70s?
Well, I mean, obviously, come on, this is amazing, but I feel like we need to mention a full studio album instead of just live albums.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Rock and Roll Over.
Yeah. Knew that.
Yeah. So, you know, it's 10 songs, 3 minutes long, mostly about sex. I think they probably all are about sex. Absolutely. Kiss at the peak of their powers, as far as I'm concerned, in a studio. I know we mentioned, watch our Rock and Roll Over episode if you want to. I love the sound of their background vocals. I think they perfected that on that album, thanks to Eddie Kramer. It's rough, but it just fits together so well. I love the sound of Gina Paul's voice.
They were just
together.
grooving at that point.
It was just,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely amazing.
And
Love
there's no-
all 10 songs I love.
And the producer they had just let them be them. So it's just nice and consistent from start to end. And
Yeah, Eddie Kramer, give him some props.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so
For
those.
me, the late 70s studio album for me would be Love Gun, but it's close as Rock and Roll Over. To me, that's a pair. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you got for your first pick?
Um,
Mine aren't specifically in order because I suck at orders, but I just got a pile here. So what do you
well,
got?
let's talk about Alice Cooper. Okay, now I could have brought over. This is my album, by the way. I could have brought over "Welcome to My Nightmare" and showed that. That's incredible. Killer. Oh my God, Killer is Killer. I love Killer.
Killer and Billion, those are my favorite.
Yeah. But yeah, $1 Billion Baby, School's Out. I mean, he just had a string of classic albums.
Yeah.
This one stood out to me, and the reason I grabbed it and brought
Still
it
a
over.
long way to go. Ooh, this
Yeah.
album's got some great
Black
stuff. on it.
Juju. Is It My Body?
Yeah.
Second Coming. Ballad of Dwight Fry.
Mm-hmm.
Mommy, where's Daddy? He's been gone for so long.
Yeah.
Sunrise. It's a cover, but it's amazing. Hallowed Be My Name.
The whole album.
18, of course. Caught in a Dream. I mean, yeah, I think we literally just named every song on here. Okay, so Alice Cooper started in the 60s. He was on Frank Zappa's label. You know, he was a weird, they were a weird psychedelic, you know, they were weird. Those first two albums, I can't even describe them.
Is Freak Out the only one on that label?
Well, the first two Alice Cooper albums, "Pretty's for You"
That's right. Yeah.
and "Easy Action." "Easy Action" way better than
So
"Pretty's
what's
for You.
Freak Out then?
That "Freak Out" is
Stuff from those albums?
it's a live show from some people would. It might be from the Toronto Pop Festival, but it's early. It's from 1969. It's live stuff. There's songs on there that aren't even Alice Cooper though.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
Huh.
They're Ronnie Hawkins of all people.
Huh.
Yeah, there's the two studio songs on there. Well, Alice Cooper fans know this. But anyway, I chose this because Bob Ezrin got a hold of them and literally, and I mean literally, taught them how to play their instruments right. And they came up with this one hell of a rock record right here, you know. So after this, it was just like 4 or 5 classic albums in a row. You know, then the original band broke up. Alice went solo. First solo album, "Welcome to My Nightmare," absolutely incredible, and it's been spotty since then, but the high points are very high. So yeah, Alice Cooper, love it to death. But again, I could be holding Killer. I could be holding "Billion Dollar Babies."
Yeah.
Or "Welcome to My Nightmare."
It's hard with some bands because they get on a run, they get on a streak, you
Mm-hmm.
know. All right, so for me, second favorite American group. How do you compete with this album? I mean, Steely Dan, I listened to just half my life. I mean, listening to Steely Dan, so this is probably the best. Although out of the early stuff, this is kind of the end of the early era. Love this one.
This might be my favorite.
Really,
Yeah.
love Katie Lied.
Yeah.
They got Picaro on most of it. Yeah, Michael McDonald makes his first appearance on here. Yeah, so.
And they're from New York, correct?
Yep, New York. But then they did a lot of stuff in L.A. and then they went back and did, I think, Gaucho in New York, and I think they felt a little lost. I think.
Yeah.
Isn't that the way that's the way it happened. It was hard to make Gaucho. They didn't really know the players in the area. They had to kind of relearn the scene a bit.
Gaucho,
So-
Hey 19's on that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Skate a little lower now.
Yeah.
It's
there
weird to
is-
think, because you don't think of Kiss and Steely Dan together,
Mhm.
but it's weird to think that Steely Dan and 72-ish kind of ran in the same circles as Gene and Paul. They both knew Ron Johnson, and guarantee you they ran into each other more than once.
I use Steely Dan all the time when I'm talking to people who don't really get Kiss. I'll be like, dude, Kiss did anything they could do to put out really, really good music, just like anybody else did. You know what I mean? Somebody's not there, they can't quite get the solo, they don't quite get the shuffle on I or whatever it is. Let's bring in Wagner, let's bring in whoever, and like Steely Dan did. Steely Dan did it on another level, I suppose. But Kiss also was just like, we are going to put good albums out no matter what. So, I call it Steely Dan in it.
And there's Michael McDonald right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't saying I was letting him do a Steely Dan thing, but yeah, great band. Again, if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick Katie Lied. Countdown to Ecstasy's pretty damn good too.
The first 3 albums are like a set.
Yeah.
And when you pick one album,
Ooh, how about Royal Scam?
It's so hard to pick one
Royal
album.
Scam.
Yeah.
Man, there's good ones.
Yeah, so
There
many.
really are.
But to me, these are really special for different reasons because this is really the pinnacle up to this point. I got to mention Asia because every song on Asia is just perfection. So
Yeah.
what do you got next?
Okay, so I'm a big country rock guy. Huge, actually, country rock guy. And to me, this kind of is the tip of the iceberg. I am talking about, I don't know. I call the band Manassas. That basically is what the band was called, but because Stephen Stills was in the band, they wanted to, the album to get noticed. So it's kind of Stephen Stills Manassas. But it's the band is called Manassas.
So what year is this? This is during CSN, right?
This is 72, so. But yeah, just look at the guys on here. Just absolutely incredible players. That's cool. I had it hanging up in my apartment before. So yeah, double album. So one album is great rock stuff.
Who is? Yeah.
Great rock stuff. there's a bluegrass side 3. There's a blues side 4. You know, it's just a great album. If you like country rock, and for somehow I've never heard this. Even the rock, like side 1, the rock, that's just great rock. Great slide guitar by Stephen Stills, by the way. I'm going to go on record as saying the most underrated guitar player who ever lived. Period. I mean, yeah, people know he's good, but I don't think people know.
He doesn't get mentioned on guitar lists. He definitely doesn't.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Stephen Stills is incredible.
Yeah.
Watch. There's really good footage of them playing on some TV show. I think it's from '72.
Mm-hmm.
Just incredible, man.
It's in nice shape.
Yeah, I have 2 of these. So you don't have this, I assume.
I don't have that one right now.
I'll give you one.
I used to have it when I was
I'll give
a kid.
you one.
I can't remember. Yeah.
I have 2.
Nice.
Yeah, this one's really good shape. Oh, here's a cool story about Manassas. Okay, so my wife and I moved in together. Well, before we were married. Yes, we lived in sin.
Oh my God.
And, you know, I can see stuff that she's brought over, so I'm going through her album collection. I'm just like, oh my God, it's like I married the perfect woman. But what really stood out to me, she had framed, so it wasn't just like on the wall with tacks in it, a framed Manassas poster. I was like, oh my God. Marry me now, woman. So yeah, that was we joke about that. I mean, obviously that wasn't the reason I married her, but yeah, she had another story. Then she had a Nick Drake poster. Nick Drake, people.
Really? Did it come in an album like Brighter Later? Did Brighter Later have a poster?
It was. I think it came from a magazine.
Oh yeah.
Don't ask me what magazine had a Nick Drake poster in it.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. Shy. He didn't really want to work things out with the bands, and they had him record his stuff, and then the band put their stuff on.
Very interesting guy.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, Nick Drake.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my little country rock sidebar. Oh wait, there's more country rock coming up later. What do you got,
Stay
Peter?
tuned. So I know you got the vinyl over there. I don't have the vinyl of Rocks right now, so I'll hold it closer so it looks beautiful. But Rocks, there you go. Fine, yours is bigger than mine.
Look at the price
I can
tag
admit
on
it.
too.
So, God, it's the most killer.
Look at that price.
I still listen to it all the time. That looks like the second time around on 38th Street price
It's
right
either
there.
that-
That looks like their tags.
It might have been Millennium Music in Portland.
Oh.
I got a bunch of albums there.
I mean, to me, this is the Aerosmith album.
It really is.
It's so good. Jack Douglas recording, and they were just on a roll. But to me, this is a very, very close number 2.
So this was my number 1 until maybe a year ago, and then I listened to this again, and I was like, "Oh no, Rocks! This is far superior."
This is killer though. I mean, there is some heavy on here.
Is.
There is. Okay, so I got into Kiss first, and then the next band I realized that wow, I like a lot of their songs. It was Aerosmith, old Aerosmith, and this is when on MTV when I got into them, I remember seeing them and Run DMC. So that had just come out, and that was on MTV, but I didn't have any of that newer stuff. And I didn't even know about Done with Mirrors and some of the deep stuff you had to hunt around for at the time, live bootleg and all that stuff. But I had this, Rocks, and Get Your Wings were the first 3 I got. But anyway, these Rocks and Toys in the Attic, so good. Yeah.
To say that is their peak is an understatement.
Yeah.
And you know what? Aerosmith are that, I'm not going to say rare band, but Aerosmith actually kind of proved that being fucked up on drugs and alcohol makes you better. Because you know what? Once they stop doing that, downhill.
I think there's a lot of great stuff on Done with Mirrors when Joe came back and they redid, God, what's this song?
Let the music do the talking.
Let the Music Do the Talking. They did their own version of that, which had been on Joe Perry Project.
My Fist Your Face, that song.
Yeah, that's a good song.
Yeah, The Reason a Dog.
Rockin' Hard Place is good. I like
Sheila.
Rockin' Hard Place,
Yeah.
different guitar players. But really, it kind of ends there for me. I don't really go for...
Yeah, that's what I was getting at with the whole
Dude
drug
looks like
thing.
a lady.
They went sober for permanent vacation. Pump, all that stuff. I mean, it just got worse as it went along.
Paul Stanley messed him up. See how it fits in? He got Desmond Child involved with everybody, and then
Oh, he did, didn't he?
yeah, totally.
Blame Kiss. Blame Paul
Blame
specifically.
Paul. Yeah.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for crappy Aerosmith records throughout the years.
Hey, we got a good handful. The first one's really good. Get Your Wings is maybe even better. And then they got a few in a row. Draw the Line is actually really, really good too.
Oh yeah.
Kings and Queens and stuff like
That's when
a
the
good one.
Draw the line is when the drugs and alcohol, especially drugs, were starting to like, okay, they're into some deeper things here.
Yeah, the book is really good, and they get into detail on that stuff in the book. It's really good.
Yeah.
And also Classics Live 1 and 2, those were killer.
Oh, yeah.
They recorded in '84, but it's just them playing. It's not overproduced or anything. They're really great live recordings, and
Wait, are they from '84? I thought they were.
I think they're from like '83, '84.
Okay.
I don't think they're earlier recordings, but they sound great. Those are great albums.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah.
And I believe one of them has "Chip Away the Stone" on there, just on there. I think. I don't know. "Chip Away the Stone's" a great
I
early.
can't remember.
Yeah, there's good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff on there. I remember having the vinyl of Classics 1. I think that's the blue one. Maybe it's the red one. I don't know. Anyway, Aerosmith, come on. 70s Aerosmith, you can't go wrong. Again, I brought over this to show, but then I look and he's got it as well, the CD laid out. So this is on both of our lists of top. I'm putting this in the top
It's so
5 or
good.
6 of the 70s.
I played at the club all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, the other day I was there at the Valley.
Was I playing it?
You were playing.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, it's funny because we had already talked about doing this episode, and he was playing Combination from
Yeah,
this, which
yeah.
is my favorite Aerosmith
Oh,
song.
really?
And I
Yeah.
was like, man, this is on my list. This is
Uh-huh.
on my list.
And Round is so heavy.
Oh,
Good choice.
yeah, yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
Is it my
What do you
turn?
got for number 2?
Watch my shirt morph into an album.
Just want that trick
Oh,
again.
that trick again.
Now I'm like,
Oh, wait.
so Jason, what's your favorite?
Wait. Oh, my next pick.
What could it be?
Thanks for asking, Peter.
Is
First,
that,
I want.
is that your shirt there?
No, I want to do a trick. I was told if you press up an album against your shirt,
We did this on a live. Remember that?
let's rehash it.
Okay.
I think I just showed. Oh wait, shirt on. Wait,
That's
no,
right.
no, start over. No,
Okay.
okay. If you press up an album against your shirt and say the magic word, what is the magic word? Simsulabam, whatever that means. And you circle it like this and take it away slowly.
Circle it like this.
The album becomes your shirt.
That's true.
Whoa!
Whoa.
I like it. Okay, try that trick at home, kids.
I guess
No.
I kind of have a remastered version of this. That I know.
Yeah, wear that when we do our favorite 80s metal albums, and you can do the trick too.
By the way,
Peter.
this was really a hard episode in a way because so many things I thought like, I got it. Oh, that's right. It's British. 90% of the things I
Exactly.
picked up were British.
Exactly.
Like,
We're
oh.
doing a British episode.
70s
without a
and
doubt.
80s. British
Yeah.
shit. Oh my God. They just took over.
Okay, so Blood on the Tracks. And okay, I know this isn't rock, but you know, Dylan did go electric in
Yeah,
65.
he went rock.
He went rock.
I got some stuff in here somebody might say it ain't hard rock, but it's rock, you know.
Listen to Meet Me in the Morning from this album and tell me that's not great blues rock, you know. But this album, people would call it his divorce album. He was going through a lot at the time. Very personal lyrics. Oh, well, of course, I mean, Bob Dylan, but even more so. Idiot Wind. Think of a lover who has scorned you. Listen to Idiot Wind, and that song will put them in their place, at least in your mind. Yeah, it's If You See Her, Say Hello, Shelter from the Storm, Buckets of Rain. Oh my God, Tangled Up in Blue is the song people would know.
Yeah, totally.
But this is
It is a great album. I checked this out from the library. That's how I found out a lot of bands when I was younger was go to the library in Tacoma. Our library system's pretty good in Tacoma.
yeah. I used to do that.
I checked this out from there, and I dig it.
Yeah. So Simple Twist of Fate. You're gonna make me lonesome when you go. 1974. Yeah. His better stuff is probably from the 60s, most would say, but I'm putting this right up there with it, and it is known. It's not me jumping on the Dylan bandwagon. Like, yeah, people say Blood on the Tracks is his best from the 70s. It truly is. I mean, this album is a masterpiece, and you know, I want to mention a couple other Dylan 70s albums. Planet Waves is incredible. He did that one with the band. New Morning from 1970. Yeah, so yeah, Dylan. I love Bob Dylan. Peter and I don't wear T-shirts of album covers unless we really love that album. So, I'm waiting for a reason to break this out. So
Yeah, waiting for a reason
Yeah.
to break this out. Nice. All right. Well, what I got next is one of my very favorites. I am a Joel freak. I'm a Billy Joel freak. Really, every single album. Are you laughing?
no, I was thinking. Well, I was, but not because you said that.
Oh.
I like Billy Joel. I was thinking of something somebody else said about Billy Joel. So
Who?
we might have talked about this before. I was watching an interview with Chris Robinson of the Black Crowes. I'm a huge Black Crowes fan. Can't talk about that now though. They're from the '90s. But he was talking about. He was talking to
I'm waiting.
Conan O'Brien. He was talking to him.
Yeah.
He goes, "What's that song where he starts singing like a vampire in it?" You know, he's talking about Big Shot.
Moving on. Oh, Big Shot. Big Shot's the first one.
Yeah.
My
But
mom's-
he goes, I never understood why he broke into like a vampire voice.
He did.
Yeah, like
Because
Big
you had to
Shot.
be a big-
Yeah, what?
Oh, I love it.
That's-
The thing about Billy Joel is he's got a power. He'll do whatever he wants to do. He can do so many things with this. He's like a Paul McCartney. He's got like 6 or 7 different versions of himself that he brings out for different moods and stuff like that. He really does. You know, like I would say this is the album I put on the most these days, but forever the one for me was Stranger. And then of course all those albums right in a row: 52nd Street, Glass Houses. Nylon Curtain, all those albums. Super good. And his early stuff is really cool and quirky.
You know, you may be right.
You may be wrong.
All right, so what's on this one particular album?
This doesn't really have any big hits, but it's got Say Goodbye to Hollywood. It's got Summer Highland Falls, which has got some really cool horn stuff in it. I mean, the whole thing is just the thing that he still does from this album. I would say is probably New York State of Mind, and he always does that angry young man with the prelude. You know, where he's that like that. He always does that live still because it's a big piece for the band. So yeah, killer album. Of course, Stranger. I mean, Stranger's really kind of better, but I play this one a lot, so I'm throwing this out there because some people haven't heard Turnstiles quite as much as 52nd Street or Stranger or whatever.
Yeah, I was always Glass House is a really good
A
album.
lot of rock fans love Glass House, and it is a killer album.
Okay, and just because we're talking about, oh, by the way, I forgot to mention Dylan's from Minnesota, Aerosmith's from Boston.
Yeah.
You know, we gotta name
A lot
these
of bands-
cities,
a lot
these
of bands
American
from Boston.
cities.
Uh-huh.
Billy Joel's from, is it New York or Long Island? Or they're the same basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, speaking of New York. People that, well, he came up in New York anyway. Singer-songwriters. Tom Waits. I want to throw out his album Closing Time, his debut. Absolutely incredible. I didn't think of it for the show.
Bad boy.
I know. But yeah, there's some great singer-songwriter stuff actually from the 70s. That's basically when singer-songwriters kind of flourished, if you will. In fact, you have a singer-songwriter you were going to show.
I do. Yeah, you're next though.
Am I?
I did Joel.
Okay, so
I was a big shot.
I'm saving this because this is my absolute favorite 70s album.
Okay, that's your. It
not,
is.
Not named Kiss Alive.
Okay, I won't give it away.
Okay, so obviously we're talking about American rock bands. You know, use the word rock loosely a little bit here. Like them or not, I don't think anybody could ever say the Beach Boys aren't one of the most important American rock bands.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, in thinking of this topic, Peter, I was trying to think of what 70s Beach Boys album I wanted to bring up. And the only problem is there's not like a definitive Beach Boys 70s classic album. Okay?
You got little hits sprinkled throughout.
There's great albums, but there's not one that's like, yeah, I can put that up with Blood on the Tracks and call it a masterpiece of all masterpieces. But what I did come up with were a couple, and there's one I'm really currently into I'm going to bring up. But I would say their best album from the 70s is from 1970, and it's Sunflower. Okay? Really quick, again, I got into Beach Boys late 90s, and this is one of the first albums I got into. And one song on here became my wife and I's wedding song.
Really?
So
On Sunflower?
yeah.
I kind of think I might maybe like Surf's Up a little more.
Oh no, okay, wait. I'm
Because
glad
it's
you
got
brought that
a
up.
twofer right there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Surf's Up came out in 71, right after this. Has 2 songs on that. Okay, now if those 2 songs on Surf's Up, if the rest of the album was like Till I Die and Surf's Up, that would be the masterpiece of the 70s. Because those 2 songs that end Surf's Up, come
Yeah.
on.
So tell me, what is Sail On, Sail On?
That's on Holland.
Holland?
From 73.
Oh, it is, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so Sail On Sailor.
Yeah.
He knows it. He knows it.
I always love that one.
But Sunflower, 1970, Surf's Up, especially those last 2 songs, 71. Holland is good. But, okay, 1977. Well, in 76, Brian rejoined the band. Brian's back, you know. And so they put out 15 big ones. Now, that it's good. You know, half of it's covers, though. So I'd rather give props to a more original album, which is the follow-up. Beach Boys Love You. That is the topic at hand. Okay, so it's incredible. It's Brian's last real creative spark, I think. You know, they weren't using co-writers anymore, like on Pet Sounds, for instance. Tony Asher writes all the lyrics, and you know, Brian wasn't a lyric writer, so to speak. So when he wrote songs, you know, he would get Van Dyke Parks or somebody to write the lyrics. But on this, he pretty much wrote all the lyrics. So there's a song called Johnny Carson. It's all about Johnny Carson. Okay, it's really good. I swear to God, it's really good.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, the album is just incredible. It's quirky. It's weird. Beach Boys Love You. That is the I listened to it on the way here. I was like, oh my God. You ever listen to music and you're alone, but you're still saying out loud, oh my God. That was me on driving here.
I do that all the time.
Okay. So yeah, Beach Boys Love You. I'm gonna say that and Sunflower the best of the 70s.
Killer. All right, so what I have next is Terrible Ted. You know, the thing about, he was a killer guitar player.
Oh yes.
He's kind of underrated as a lead guitar player. I love the early albums. When it turned into the Ted Show, it didn't honestly really get good until this album. It got really good on this album. There is some stuff in there, but this is the first one. I mean, bass player, the drummer, such a groovy drummer. You know, it's kind of like Steve Miller. What would that album be without that funky, drummer on Fly Like an Eagle and Take Money Running, all that. The drummer is killer.
And Derek.
Yeah, vocalist, the whole thing.
I was happy when I finally seen Ted live in, I don't know, 2012 or so.
Really?
At the casino down the street. Wow. Derek was with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. So, I love old Ted Nugent. I grew up playing the riffs. This is my second favorite right here. Killer from start to end, I think.
Yeah, this album right here, in particular, we had on both of our lists. Like, I came prepared to talk about this album. We didn't talk about our list beforehand. Yeah. And then I see he's got it sitting out on the table because he's going to talk about it. So, yeah, we definitely agree. Easily one of the best hard rock American hard rock albums of the 70s. And we had to get some Detroit rock in here, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so.
It's killer stuff. Up until, like, what? Scream Dreamer, 82-ish, 83, something like that. It's really killer stuff. You know, he eventually got really political and extremely outspoken, and it's really hard because if you say you like Ted, you hear a bunch of crap. But I'm not really talking about the politics. You know what I mean? I'm just talking about these albums. You know. And this is one of the other people in the 70s that actually had a pinball machine, like Kiss. You know what I mean? There's only a few of them. Kiss, Ted Nugent. Who else had a pinball machine?
Probably ABBA. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, but he was big stuff for a while. You get too political and you confuse people and stuff. But you know, the music's killer.
So kind of like the Beach Boys, I knew like, okay, well, I love the Grateful Dead. They're from America, San Francisco to be exact. Got to pick a Grateful Dead album, right? But like the Beach Boys, there's not the one like, okay, that's the masterpiece from the 70s right there. So I'm gonna name a few albums. American Beauty is probably the one if people would. Would you say that's the most popular album?
It's the only one I like.
Okay. Okay. Working Man's Dead is like American Beauty's like sister album.
Yeah,
It came
yeah,
out
yeah.
the same year. The same year.
Really? See, they were on a
1970.
little streak. What if they just stopped
1970.
then? Just joking.
Oh man. Anyway, so yeah, those two are from 1970. Skullfuck, the live album. Europe 72. Wake of the Flood from 73. That's studio. Blues for All, that's 75. I'm just naming some really good.
That's not your favorite album, Jason. That's 7 favorite albums.
Okay, that is 7 favorite albums. I just grabbed this off my shelf, to be honest with you, because I couldn't find any other Grateful Dead CDs or albums laying around where I was. But this right here is a live show from 77 from Cornell University, May 8th, 1977. Widely regarded, Peter, as the greatest live performance of all time.
Wow.
And let me tell you,
By Grateful Dead?
by music.
Okay.
By anybody who ever put
Oh.
instruments around their necks.
All
I'm just
right.
telling you, that's what people say.
Yeah, okay.
But yes, definitely by Grateful Dead circles.
Huh.
This would be probably in everybody's top
That's
5.
a favorite from
Everybody's
yeah,
top
okay.
5 live shows. There's a version on here of Dancing in the Streets. It's like 18 minutes long.
Yeah, wow.
And it is, that in particular is one of the best things I've ever heard.
Wow.
Ever, period. It's incredible.
They're one of those bands where like it's really hard to probably pick your favorite albums because they're like the biggest band in the world for like tape trading.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yes.
Every single show. It's not like, have you heard that album? It's like, have you heard like May 3rd, 1973 or whatever? It's like people bootleg every single show. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
so Van Halen,
Both of our lists.
78. I mean, how do you top it? I still listen to Van Halen like at least every week for my life. You know, it never stops. I mean, insane the energy.
Yes.
Their
They-
expressiveness is insane. Of
You know
course, you got to mention "Run Over the Devil" vocal track. Everyone's heard it, but if anybody hasn't heard it, like he did that whistle right there on the live take, just
Nope.
like whee, you know, like
You know what I love about Roth?
Hmm.
This is a good thing because he was a front man. He was
Uh-huh.
a showman. The guy, he never shut up. Like even on
Yeah.
a song, like if there's a breakdown, he's gonna talk.
he's still gonna just be making.
He's gonna
sound.
do that scream that
Yeah.
you just did in an intro or something.
That's a good singer, filling out all those spots.
Yeah.
you know.
It's being confident with your voice.
So, with this group, with his insane, energetic drumming, and just think about the background vocal of Michael and
Oh,
his,
yes.
all of it together, it's like, it's the most pumped 4 dudes that fit together perfectly that you could possibly ask for.
I hate to use the term because it sounds like some K-tel thing or something.
Pumped?
No, party rock. This is party rock to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a wonder that
It's some serious party rock. It's some real shit, but I mean, God, it is a party. It
Yeah,
is
that's what I
just-
mean. It sounds like they're having a party when they were recording it, and it's no wonder they used to play in backyard parties, and that's how they basically started. So,
It's just unbelievable the power of these.
did
guys.
we even mention Eddie's playing? I mean, come on.
I mean, what he brought to it. I
That's-
mean,
yeah. Do you even have to mention it?
what he brought to the game. Yeah, just.
You know what's
absolutely
funny
nuts.
is I heard Eddie never liked the sound of this album. It's like, come, what are you thinking?
It's like the first Sabbath or something like that. You know, it's the most organic you're ever going to hear them. Of course, they don't like it, or of course, Pat Metheny doesn't like his first album. It's organic. It's recorded in a day. This is recorded in whatever. And I mean, it's just amazing. Every time I listen to it, it blows me away. Still does. Blows me away every time I hear it.
Not a weak track.
Yeah.
Not at all. Okay, my turn. Let's see.
And I would mention other albums, but this is 78. You know, the second one's 79. But really, every single Van Halen album.
Okay, so back to country rock. You knew it was going to happen. So this is kind of coattailing off everything I was saying about the Grateful Dead. In the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, the Grateful Dead, obviously they toured constantly. One of their favorite bands opening for them was New Riders of the Purple Sage. They were buddies. I love that album cover. Cactus there.
Yeah.
But anyway, country rock at its finest. I will say this about this band, although I do love some of their other stuff. This is their only classic album.
Any hits?
No.
Any
Absolutely.
screams? Any tapping?
The closest they had to a hit was probably Panama Jack.
Any 4-foot long bass drums?
No, no Breathing
So
Fire.
no Van Halen influence here.
They have a cactus on their album cover. Can I show that?
So this is like what, 72 or?
No, this is 1970. And also,
70.
look at this picture. I love this picture. Who's this guy? How'd he get in there?
Who that?
Jerry Garcia
Oh,
plays pedal steel guitar and banjo on this album.
Mm-hmm.
There is so John Dawson, Marmaduke is the main dude here. Commander Cody's on here. Commander Cody, he had some good albums from the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is just to me this is a landscape album. Meaning when you're driving through the country, or for us, like when I like drive down south, like going through down towards southern Washington, like, you know, there's some really nice landscapes to look at, mountains and stuff. Great album to listen to. All 10 songs, amazing. New Rares of the Purple Sage. Done. I'm out.
You're done. He's out
Okay.
here. So because we talked about, since you got a cactus on there,
Yeah. Isn't that weird that
cactus is a
cactus?
That
And
would
now
have
he's
been,
talking about cactus.
that would have been a great cactus.
That's a
album.
phallic
Yeah.
cactus, though. That's dirty, Peter.
These guys were dirty, man. So what you got is you got Carmine on drums and Tim Bogert from Vanilla Fudge, and then we got what is his name again? Jim McCarty. That's right.
Ooh.
Jim McCarty was the guitar player like on Devil in the Blue Dress, like Mitch.
The Shredder.
Yeah, like
Detroit Wheel.
he was that guy. Then the Rusty Day was in Amboy Dukes with Ted Nugent.
It's a super group.
He was on what, the second and third album, I think, maybe. But so it was a super group, an American super group, and this is my copy that I've had since I ordered it. I ordered this when I was in high school. I remember there was a place here called Silver Platters.
Oh, I missed that place.
Yeah, and I had to order it. It's a Japanese copy. Yeah, ordered this sucker in like maybe 92 or something like that. So it's killer. This is the first album.
I like that in 92, like 19-year-old Peter was ordering Cactus albums.
Oh, everything though. Cactus, Miles, Stan Getz. I was Modern Orchestra, all of it, Kiss. But the first album is killer. The second album is one way or another really killer. Eddie Kramer recorded it. The next album called Restrictions, and both of those are done at their record plant. Or Electric Lady, I think, yeah. So Kiss connection there, and Kiss were Cactus fans.
Yo, huge Cactus fans.
So, but if you haven't heard the first three Cactus, then after Bogart and Carmine got done with this, they went off they created Beck Bogart Appice with Jeff Beck.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
We should be showing that.
Yeah, it's a great album.
Yeah.
Well,
Jeff Beck.
Beck's
He
not
ruins
American.
it. Come
Yeah,
on.
he ruined it all. But that's a great album too. But that rhythm section just went from group to group to group.
Yeah.
It was killer.
Man, that
Yeah.
Beck Bogart.
So Cactus, killer American group. I probably should have showed all three albums, but there's the first one. Pretty cool.
Okay. Well, one way or another, you're probably gonna end up
One
showing
way or
them all.
another.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, you slice it.
Again, we're going.
We're not even using our name silly like that every
Yeah.
5 seconds.
Any way you slice it. So we're going back to the early 70s. I've noticed most of our stuff is from the very early 70s.
I kind of saved my late 70s stuff. You can see it's going to get weird here.
Okay. I'm almost out of stuff, so this,
Yeah.
I'll have a lot to say about your stuff.
We've been chit-chatting, but, some of these I'll blast through a little bit.
Okay, so my favorite studio album from the 70s is by Little Feat. A little background on Little Feat. A couple of the guys, Lil George in particular, who's the main dude here, and Roy Estrada came from Frank Zappa's band, The Mothers. Okay, so Lil George got kicked out of Frank Zappa's band for one of two things. I've heard two things. Number one, smoking pot. Frank didn't want that.
Really?
Which is weird. Picture Frank not putting up with pot smoking in the late 60s. Or two, he didn't like the song Willin', which mentions weed, whites, and wine, which is on this album, by the way. Actually, Willin' is such a good song, they put it on their first two albums.
Really?
Yeah. But this album, this is before they they expanded the band and became almost like New Orleans funk, I guess, like Dixie Chicken. Most people know Dixie Chicken. Or Feats Don't Fail Me Now. But they were a raw rock band here with slide guitar. In fact, Lil George is known as probably one of the best slide guitarists in rock. But there was a moment where he couldn't play slide because he hurt his hand. Ry Cooder stepped in. He's played some slide in this album.
Really?
I just absolutely, and another cool story. Even before we talked about it, my wife was in love with this album too. And so this is like our album together. Isn't
Wow.
It?
That
It's
is
such a sweet story.
She's going to watch this.
But no, sometimes we'll go on like a little road trip or something, and I always know bring a Little Feat CD, the debut album.
So that's the one to get, huh? I've always seen the live album around so much.
Oh, Waiting for Columbus? Yeah, that album's incredible too, from '78. So here's the thing with Little Feat. First album, masterpiece. I love it. Rock and roll, Stones type of rock and roll, slide guitar, cool lyrics. Second album, almost love just as much. It's that good. Sailing Shoes. Great album, incredible. Easy to slips on there, cold, cold, cold. Third album, Dixie Chicken. This is where they're expanding, kind of different kind of sound. Still good, amazing. Fourth album, the best album with that kind of a sound. Pete Still Fail Me Now. And then the next couple albums, I don't know, not as good. The live album, though, they were always a good live band, and the live album he's referring to, Waiting for Columbus, with the tomato in a hammock. Great album. And then a couple years later, Lil George died. So they've continued on. I actually seen them maybe 10 years ago. It's not the same without Lil George, though. I just want to say. But what can you do? You still want to play the music, you continue on. But Lil George is one of my musical heroes, and Little Feat's one of my favorite bands.
So I'm going to blast through a few here because I got some multiples here.
I was going to bring that one up.
One of my very favorite groups, Styx. Also, aren't they Boston?
Chicago.
Yeah. Okay. So, to me, this is my favorite. For me, all those albums in a row: Crystal Ball, Grand Illusion, Pieces of Eight. Pieces of Eight's the first one I ever bought. This one, probably a close second is Styx 2. And but everything up to Roboto is really good. Roboto album is most of it's pretty good. Everything up until then, though, Killer Miller, can't beat it.
I love Styx as well. You'll never guess my favorite Styx album. It's
Paradise.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I just guessed one that wasn't my favorite.
I think that's from 80, right? 80 or 81?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep. Montrose.
Hey, if you ever have too much time on your hands, you should listen to it.
Too much time in your hands. I mean, kind of an amazing lineup here, where it's like the drumming and just Ted Templeman. Is it just Ted Templeman that makes these groups sound like they're just so damn pumped? Like there's nothing. It's just insane.
Ted produced Little Feat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Connections.
So it's a Ted Templeman production, and of course it's how Sammy got connected with Van Halen later. But Sammy was really killer back in this era here, and Ronnie Montrose. All this stuff was always killer.
This is a guitar player's dream. This album.
It's such a killer album, though. Every song.
Absolutely. Rock Candy.
And then another group that's hard because they had a nice little streak with everything up till Dog and Butterfly. But this is my favorite, and they're local here. Every tune on this album is killer. Some of Dog and Butterfly was recorded at a studio right over in South Tacoma Way, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Not South Tacoma Way, but South Tacoma over there by my old house where I lived.
Really?
But Little Queen, definitely my favorite. Heart, Dog and Butterfly, just as good. For me, it's just killer though. Every tune's killer. One of my very favorite groups, Chicago. All their albums are killer. This is one of those greatest hits that doesn't quite feel like a greatest hits because it flows so good. So I just picked the greatest hits because it's so killer. Every tune. And nobody really did it like they did with the horns. I know your blood, sweat, and tears, but nobody did it like Chicago.
And they're still doing it. My favorite Chicago album would probably be, God, they're all numbers, so
3?
I don't think it's 3. What's the one with Feeling Stronger Every Day? Is that 4? Maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah, that's a little bit.
That's a good
on
one.
a little bit. You got to
Okay.
mention. I'm mentioning
Oh.
this for both of us because I mean, come on.
Yeah, yeah.
The first Boston, of course, Tom. He did a lot of it, like a lot of the bass and organ
Without
and
a doubt.
everything.
Without a doubt.
It's killer. It's so
Wouldn't
such
be
an
wouldn't be the
amazing-
same without Brad though.
Yeah,
Yeah, that voice.
it's an insane story where a dude can't get a record deal, but the stuff's amazing. He was right there the whole time, and no one really cared. So
This is what
Eventually.
happens when a studio wizard gets a record deal.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
this is one of those bands. It's kind of like Seeger for me, where me as a 14-year-old, Boston, Seeger, Skinner, I was like, what? No, give me Metallica. You know what I mean? But coming back around, you know, I hear Peace of Mind or whatever on the radio once in a while, and it's like, oh my God, Boston is just, every time you hear it, it's like, oh my God, so good. The first 3 albums, really, so good.
absolutely. This could almost be a greatest hits. You know, throw Don't Look Back on here, and then you got Boston's greatest hits.
The second album sounds just like the first album, and it's almost just as good. And the third album, definitely, when they got done making it,
Was that the
it was
one?
early
Third
80s.
Stage,
It's got Amanda
yeah.
on it. It's really good. Production's a little different. I think he was using this little guitar box at the time. So to get any tone with that, you got to put like 7 of them on there. And you know, it's not quite like the Marshalls and stuff I think he was using on the first couple
What was
albums.
the other song? There was Amanda, and there was another song that was kind of a
Cool the Engines.
yeah, Cool the Engines.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah, that's not bad.
So my very favorite, how can you not mention Journey? My very favorite Journey, it's such a, the CD version, they printed it so dark. But that's definitely my favorite Journey. This one, all the time I was a kid, and feeling that way, and anytime, and those songs where they're both singing, that's a cool era when they were both
Greg
singing.
and Steve.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That was cool stuff. I think it's weird that the album starts off with Lights because it's kind of the ballad, but they probably thought it was the hit,
True.
which
Which it was.
it was, I guess. But they had 3 hits on this right off the bat. But this is a killer album, and I just like in the last couple of years, I went out and I got every Journey album, and I tried harder to understand what the heck was going on because I was that little heavy metal kid that didn't quite get it, you know, for so long. And
Well, they were like prog early on, right?
but Escape, they were early
Yeah.
on. I don't think the songs are quite there in the first few albums, but their musicianship definitely was there. But all the big albums, even I really got into them. I really tried to understand what my sister liked about it. No, but I kind of became a big Journey fan just in the last couple of years. It took that long to get that heavy metal kid
Yeah.
sort of out of my system.
My
yeah.
experience with Journey, I mean, the early '80s MTV hits, really. You know, my sister loved Journey too. We have something else.
Do you have
in
this
common.
album?
No.
Oh, Infinity.
I actually
It's
don't.
Such a killer album. One of the best debut albums of all time.
Yes. Talk about a greatest
Cars.
hits.
We don't really have to even say much about. It's just everyone already knows.
See, these albums are similar in that, like, every song you've heard on the radio.
Yeah.
You know, it's this I love this.
They never gets old.
Never.
Yeah. First Cars album, so killer.
Name some of those songs in there, Peter.
That's all the hits.
Good Times Roll, My Best Friend's Girl, Just What I Needed. You're All I've Got Tonight, Bye Bye Love, Moving in Stereo.
Mm-hmm.
All mixed up. I mean, come on. Hey, you got the deluxe pack. I see. Yeah. Boston, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right on. And Journey, I guess, would be San Francisco-ish, California. Journey. So we're all over the map here in the States.
We're everywhere.
Yeah.
And I got a few more things to mention really quick. These were my first 2 albums. Mom got these from a album club in '79. These came. I also got Rumors and the self-titled one before that. Foreigner. The one with Dirty White Boy on it. Head Games. whatever it's called.
Yes.
I mean, these are masterpieces, of course, you know. And here's another one that I didn't know about until later, JT. And it's like, is it rock? It's pop rock, whatever, you know. Every song. And this is a really special one for me here.
You were singing that Smiley
This
Face
is when he
song
was with
earlier.
Carly at the time. And she sings on a couple tunes on here. Killer album from start to end. I think this is his greatest album from start to end. Yeah. So
Yeah.
JT, James Taylor.
James Taylor.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's all I got. So there's a bunch of honorary mentions on the end there, and
Fleetwood Mac are a British band, I understand, but they did have 2 American people in the band,
Yeah.
Lindsay and Stevie. So we're gonna save our Fleetwood Mac talk for the British episode. But
Yeah.
man, they made some good albums in America in the 70s. So we'll talk about that at a later date. But Fleetwood Mac has to get mentioned, and the Byrds. Another
true.
well,
I was just gonna say, who'd we miss?
yeah, we missed a few. I'm sure some people probably let us know a few others, but
It's funny because there's tons of '60s stuff that are '60s bands, one-hit wonders, British Invasion era, but American bands.
Well, there's bands from the '60s who continued into the '70s who put out great albums, like the Byrds. Their 1970 album, Untitled, just incredible. So, we're gonna do British bands. We're gonna do heavy metal in the '80s.
Yeah, let's talk about whatever we want.
Yeah.
Probably Kiss half the time still, but you know what I mean. Whatever we want.
Yeah. So we got some Kiss episodes. We haven't did all the Kiss albums.
No.
We haven't did Psycho Circus, and, so yeah, Kiss episodes
That's good,
coming and other things like that, and thank you, Dean, again for the topic earlier and the donation. We appreciate it, and we will see you next time. And remember, any way you slice it,
Yeah.
you can't deny it.
Yeah.